Now, to take us on the acting skills, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the former national president, Association of Movie Producers, Nigerian representative at the International Federation of Film Producers Association in Paris, France, and the regional secretary, Pan-African Federation of Filmmakers, Johannesburg, South Africa. Ladies, put your hands together for Mr. Madu Chikwendu.
There's so many beautiful young women. I don't know. I cannot get to know all of it in this short period of time, but I'll just do a random sample. I need to know who I'm talking with. Excuse me. Hello. Your name or what you do? Where are you from? You don't need to stand up.
Okay. My name is Kenge Gloria from Delta State. I'm
What
here
do you
for
do?
modeling and singing.
Yeah, but what you do normally if you're
I'm
not
a student.
Where?
I just graduated from my NB program from Delta State Polytechnic.
Congratulations.
My name is Joy Henera. I'm from Edo State. I'm a student of the Polytechnic Ibadan.
Okay. Alright. You.
Obiora Jennifer from Anambra, 400 level student of University of Abuja.
Alright. Those at the back are not escape. Okay, the lady with the chains, what do you do?
My name is Vanessa Diallo. I'm partly Senegal, Nigerian. I'm a student of National Open University.
Good. Very interesting. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But I'm in your house, so you should be saying welcome to me.
Welcome.
Alright, thank you. So, let me ask you. I would like you to tell me 3 ways that you tend to achieve what you have in mind here. You want to be the new Nigerian diva, right?
Yes.
So you.
Well, I tend to work hard and give it my best to achieve the reason why I'm here. So
I said 3. So you work hard. And everybody will give their best, so we have to remove that one.
alright, I'll work hard, I'll concentrate, and I'll just be myself.
Okay, what we're going to do to make this much, to make it as efficient as possible, I would like as many of you as possible to ask me any question you like about acting and film. Yes. Your name?
My name is Esther Muzichi. I want to ask, like, in acting, if you're given a role of, like, a sorrowful role that you need to cry, how do you make the tears to come out?
Okay, thank you. I know 2 ways. I don't want you to restrict yourself to those 2 ways. No, 3 actually. You can put rub. You can squeeze a little onions. And you can think of the saddest thing that ever happened to you. I know that's how, the way we advise our actresses, we want them to really cry so you can see the tears falling down. So lady, what was the saddest experience you ever had?
When I lost my elder sister.
Okay, excellent. Yes, ma'am. Your question?
Okay, yes. Please, I want to know the difference between the duties of the producer and the director.
Very good question. Now, the producer is the originator of the project. Most of the time, he initiates the project. Although, of course, a producer can be hired, which means he's not necessarily the owner of the project. Whoever is the owner of the project must have producer in his name somewhere. There is an executive producer or whatever. Nowadays, in developed countries, they talk about creative producer. They differentiate between a producer that is very, very creative and the producer who is just an administrator. All right? And like they say, it is only the producer who is involved in the project from the very day it starts till the day that it ends. And they ask yourself, when does the film end? Well, let me finish with the director first before I get back to that one. Now, the director is the individual who interprets the script. Okay, because for you to make a film professional, you have to have a script. A script has dialogue and action and characters. So it is the director that reads the script and begins to develop what we call a vision. It's a director that had a vision of saying that, okay, this is how the segment of this place is going to be. And then he works with the production design. He works with camera persons. All right. Now, but most times, every other person in the production is employed by a producer. It's the producer that employs the director, the cameraman, the production designer, the actors and actresses, and what have you. So the producer is the employer of labor in a production. But the question you might ask yourself is this: when does the production end? Is it when you people go and the winner emerges? Right? That's one side, no? What ends is what we call the production phase. The producer is still there because it is the producer that will now negotiate with the studio and goes into what we call post-production, which is the editing of the work. Even if he still doing that editing in his own studios, it's still another phase of the project. When he completes the editing, he goes into another phase which we call marketing and distribution, when he now works with distributors, with TV stations to promote the project and what have you. Which is why I asked you the other question that, when does the producer's job end? Now recently, in London, they restored some films that were made in the 1930s and 1940s. Which means that as long as a film is making money, there's a producer, because there must be a producer who receives the money and disburses to every other person. Is that okay for you? Okay.
So how about the production manager?
Good. The production manager is the hands-on person who administers the production. You know, production team, a complete production team. In the US, for instance, in Hollywood, a production team can have about as many as 76 people. There was the story of, if you guys have heard of Robert Rodriguez, who made Mariachi and a lot of others from Mexico. He's a famous director. You know, the first film he made, he was a cameraman and the editor and the director and the scriptwriter. I think there were just 3 people in the crew. Now, because he's so good, they've invited him to Hollywood. So the first time I went to the set, he saw over 70 people. He started screaming at what are these people doing here? He didn't understand that kind of system. But in a standard Nollywood production, you're usually like anything between 10 to 20 people. You know, which will start with one. You have the producer, you have the director, you have the cameraman or cinematographer, or director of photography. They're all the same thing. You have the screenwriter, who is not necessarily on set with them. You have the production designer, not always used in Nollywood, for instance. You have makeup, you have costumer, and so on. Continuity, good. The sound man, lighting man. So usually a standard Nollywood production is between 10 and 15, depending on the size of the production. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Gift to Produce. I want to know the difference between character and characterization.
Okay, good. Character is a reference to a specific person. Let's assume I'm playing the part of Madu. So character is that person. The character is Madu, which is my name. But characterization is a total package that involves the name of the person, how he talks, what he believes in. At times we talk about what we call the backstory, because what you see in a character is a reflection of his backstory. As I am now, what makes me what I am? What does that character believe in? Is he a Christian or a pagan? Does he like smoking and drinking? Why does he scream? Those things are all the elements of characterization. As separate from character. Character is just one single element. The person. So I say character is, what's the name again, madam?
Gift to courage.
Gift to courage. That is character. That is the character, gift to courage. But your characterization is, you can even, if you want to write about characterization, if you want to write an essay on characterization, you can write 300 pages. But if you want to write about the character, it might be just too late. Character is gift to courage. Okay. One more question before
So,
you've asked the question. All right.
I believe in every career there's rudiments, as in the elementary stage, as in someone that is starting a career should know the basic things that he needs to know. So I just want to know the basic things that a starter for acting, as in an actor and actress, needs to know to make his art glamorous.
Yes, fine. The issue you raised is a very topical one that we're all presently debating in the industry. Because I'm also a newspaper columnist at the Daily Independent. I write on film on Saturdays for my other column. And recently I wrote and I said that most of the guilds and associations in the industry have failed the industry because they are not really professional guilds and associations. Even though I've been part of it and we created a lot of those guilds and associations. I'm the founder of the Editors Guild of Nigeria. So I'm just trying to say that what I'm going to give now is just my own personal opinion, but at this point in time, in the development of the industry, after about 20 years, we should really have very clearly defined rules and ethics for actors and actresses, which is what are those rudiments? Of course, we presume that somebody that wants to be an actor and actress has talent.
Yes.
2, we will further presume that there goes some form of training. That what you're doing now is a form of training. Okay? Even if it's not an educational academy, but this is a training program. 3, I think that you must also have discipline. I think that the discipline is the most important thing because to my mind, what you're doing comprises of 2 things. 1, the talent, which can be inborn. I believe that you are born with talent, okay? But the second element is what I would call the skill. So, a successful actor or actress or a successful creative person for me must have talent and what?
Skills.
What is skill? Skill means that, for instance, you need to understand that when you're talking and facing the camera, you have to look beyond the camera. Unlike somebody like a musician who is singing and looking into the camera. In acting, we don't look into the camera unless there's a very, very special reason. If you're acting on stage, for instance, stage has a lot of rules about how you walk, where you come in, where you exit. Those elements are the skills. Like what I told you now about how to cry. That is the skill. But the talent is that it's already inside you. But without discipline, these 2 things are meaningless. And I'm going to stop here and give you an assignment, and with the support of the director and the cameraman, I want each and every one of you to cry now. Thank you very much. But the assignment I will give is a very simple one. And I gave you the answer earlier. I want each of you to cry. I'm sure the camera will pan on and then that's your test. Thank you very much again for listening to me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Remember, think of your saddest experience or rub something in your head or produce the tears. Want to see the tears now.